Hey there, welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Ben Briscoe with Dehaisha Moyes and Eric Chilton.
Yes, this is an interactive news show built to connect you with the community and with us. So be a part of our conversation on our Facebook page. We stream our show live there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So use that hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. New at 4 o'clock, Governor Roy Cooper just announced a new program helping families pay for rent and utilities. The NC HOPE program is making payments directly to landlords and utility companies for families. Now, if you need help and you want to sign up for this program, visit 211.org/COVID to see if you're eligible for assistance, or you can call 211 during business hours to speak with someone. $117 million is set aside for the NC HOPE program. As far as cases go in our state, today marks the highest daily increase in coronavirus cases since the start of the pandemic. More than 2,500 new cases reported today, and more than 1,100 people are in the hospital. Dr. Mandy Cohen says our state is capable of slowing the spread of the virus.
We have the tools to slow the spread and protect one another. The science is clear on masks. They work. They slow the spread if everyone is working together to wear them. I know that no one in North Carolina wants to see us move backwards, so I'm asking all North Carolinians to wear a mask when you are with people that you don't live with. Please find your reason to wear one.
Dr. Cohen adds the first flu reports will be released later today as well.
On the first day of early voting, President Donald Trump visited North Carolina to encourage you to hit up the polls. He just wrapped up his stop in Greenville a little while ago. It is the 15th time the president has been to our state this election cycle, 15th. And today he had a clear message for his supporters.
Don't clap too hard. Go out and vote. We'll clap later. Because these people are crazy. If he wins, the radical left will be running the country.
At the same time, Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris canceled her trip to North Carolina today. She will not travel until at least Monday, tweeting out her reason as, "Late last night, I learned a non-staff flight crew member and a member of my team tested positive for COVID. I wasn't in close contact as defined by the CDC with either during the 2 days prior to their positive test. I've had 2 negative tests this week and am not showing symptoms." So instead of traveling to Charlotte and Asheville as planned, Harris's team is working on a virtual campaign event that will happen later tonight. Vice President Mike Pence is coming to North Carolina tomorrow. Pence will be at the Farm at 95, that's in Selma. The Make America Great Again rally starts at 1:30, gates open at 11:30.
Masks, reopening, schools, teacher pay, and Medicare. Those were all hot topics during the gubernatorial debate last night. Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest criticized Governor Roy Cooper for the way the state has handled reopening schools and businesses during the pandemic. Well, Governor Roy Cooper argued that schools and businesses needed to reopen slowly so our state could lower the number of coronavirus cases. Cooper added the state has been successful in slowing the spread, citing the drop in cases before phase 3. Governor Cooper also argued you can't save the economy if cases keep rising. It is finally here. Early voting kicked off across our state. It is the first time polling locations here in North Carolina are open for voters who want to cast their vote ahead of the election on November 3rd. WFMY News 2's Adoria Chumba joins us live from the early voting center on Vandalia Road in Greensboro, where the wait is long.
I'm at the Brown Recreation Center voting place, and it's a prime example of what we've been talking about all summer long, about what to expect on with early voting in person in the middle of a pandemic. And you can see right behind me, there's still lots of cars and people in line. It's sort of tapered off throughout the afternoon, but still a large turnout nonetheless, and just on day one of early voting. Now, I spoke to some people here, and they said they waited around 3 to 4 hours before they got to cast their ballot, many of them wearing masks and using hand sanitizers, which were provided. At one point this afternoon, though, a person was in distress and an ambulance had to be called. Fortunately, that person did not need to go to the hospital. Now, inside, there were more waiting voters, and poll workers were cleaning ballot booths after each voter. Now, it was a different scene around lunchtime at the Greensboro Coliseum location. It was a larger, more spread out space for social distancing and for more poll worker stations. Now, it also took some people there about 30 to 45 minutes to cast their ballot at that location. Now, again, if you are planning to participate in early voting, you should, of course, expect to see lines and pack plenty of patience. Now, the sites open up as early as 8 a.m. and close at 7:30 on weekdays, and open between 8 and 5 on weekends. Now, we do have a list of all the early voting sites for the Triad on our website for you on WFMYnews2.com.
Adori, thank you. Don't forget, the Greensboro Transit Authority is offering free rides to early voting locations. It's part of their Move to the Polls initiative by the agency. This is giving voters a chance to access resources and informing them as well. The voter access guides are also available, listing important election information and other resources. You can also find that information on WFMYnews2.com.
Ooh. All right, let's look at these temperatures. It's comfortable. I mean, today was pretty good, mid 70s right now. If you go down toward Troy, they're seeing a temperature of 80 degrees. How about that? But 74 for Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Reedsville. Pretty much everybody within the 4 or 5 degrees of each other. Tonight, clouds are building in. We're seeing that already. Mostly our cooler conditions tonight, 45 for the overnight low. I think we'll go in tomorrow. We're probably going to see some of those high temperatures as this cloud cover moves in. We'll see that start to trail off, and then we'll drop down and be cooler for your weekend. You notice a few clouds here and there on the satellite and radar combo, but the big thing we're watching is this frontal boundary that'll move through. Not so much from a rain standpoint. We will see showers from that, but that's not the impact. It's that colder air back behind it that could usher in the coldest air we've seen in quite a while, that's for sure. You see it here on the surface chart, our futurecast showing that front clearing us hopefully by tomorrow night, but I think the rain should stop by midday or early afternoon and then gradual clearing into the night, and it will get cold. We'll talk about weekend chill down in just a minute.
Right now, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden will not debate tonight. Instead, both are hosting separate town halls answering voter questions. The second presidential debate was canceled after President Trump rejected the Commission on President Debates' decision that they wanted to make the debate virtual. And then Biden rejected the Trump campaign's request to push back the debate by a week to do it in person. The third and final debate is still scheduled for next Thursday in Nashville. It will be an in-person debate, at least for now. A Confederate monument in Lexington will come down. Today, a Davidson County Superior Court dismissed an order which prevented the city from removing it. Under today's decision, that Robert E. Lee statue will be moved out of city limits, and the Daughters of Confederacy will choose where the monument goes. Documents say this should happen without delay. A St. Louis couple facing charges for waving guns at protesters pled not guilty in court. Mark and Patricia McCloskey were indicted by a grand jury on charges of unlawful use of a weapon and tampering with evidence. According to prosecutors, the couple was charged with unlawful use of weapon back in July. Their case gained national attention, though, when they spoke out at the Republican National Convention, saying they were trying to defend their home. The couple is scheduled for another court appearance on the 28th. The U.S.-Canada border won't be opening anytime soon. Today, the Prime Minister of Canada said it's keeping its closed border until our country gets the number of coronavirus cases under control. For comparison here, the U.S. coronavirus death rate is almost 3 times higher than Canada's. We'll be right back.
Schools, the economy, and COVID-19. Those were the three main topics of an Elon University poll released today. Now, the poll showed many are okay with how Governor Roy Cooper has handled the pandemic, but folks are more split when it comes to the president. I spoke with poll director Jason Husser for more insight.
We know that this has been tremendously difficult for lots of North Carolinians.
A new Elon University poll sheds light on how North Carolina residents feel about the state of COVID-19. And right now, schools are top of mind. About 60% of people polled say they are extremely worried or very worried about the spread of COVID-19 among students, teachers, and caregivers with schools reopening. And while most agreed it was a good idea to start classes this fall online, poll director Jason Husser says people differ on what should come next.
When we ask the question, when do you think K-12 schools should return to full-time in-person instruction for most students? Most people were in the category of within the next year or only after a treatment. However, that differed a great deal by parties.
Husser says people who are caregivers were more likely to want kids back in the classroom.
Overall, the governor has pretty good marks when it comes to handling the pandemic.
On the topic of the governor's and president's response, Governor Cooper was graded mostly at a B or C, but the results are more polarizing for President Trump.
We see more people giving President Trump high ratings and also more people giving him low ratings.
21% gave him an A, while 43% gave him an F. Those polled were also asked whether people felt comfortable going to bars, restaurants, and other entertainment venues. 43% said they are extremely uncomfortable going to bars. 28% said they are extremely uncomfortable dining inside. But 35% of people said they are somewhat comfortable dining outside.
So we've got a long way to go before most North Carolina residents are ready to return to normal when it comes to indoor gathering spaces.
Starting next week, Elon will conduct another poll to be released at the end of the month. That poll will focus on healthcare, election security, and how people plan to vote. More of your 4 to 5 when we come back. Hey, I'm going to correct that and send it to the show again. So can you have receive pull that from the show? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You know, these days you could say that creativity is the word when it comes to businesses or companies because everybody has to do things differently, right? Well, the folks at Haw River State Park have a really cool event that fits right in with the current times, and it's Halloween themed. Heidi Dull filled me in. Well, Heidi, you know that my family loves you guys. We're out there all the time. You do great work. So this is a cool event coming up. It's October 24th, but it's at nighttime. You don't normally think about that with a park. So tell me what this is all about.
Well, we are doing an event called Park in the Dark, and it's from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's a family-friendly event for families to come out and get on our trails at night. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun activities that are involved or circling around animals that come out at night.
And there are a lot of those type animals. Now, just to make sure the viewers know, what you guys are watching, these images are from similar events last year, but pre-COVID. But you guys, safety obviously is first and foremost with you guys this year.
Right. We're asking that families that come out to wear masks, and we'll have a check-in table, and we'll have 6-foot distances marked off. And as families check in, we're going to stagger them along the trail so that we can socially distance as they hike through the park.
I would think you guys are excited about this because you don't normally see park events at night. So everybody will have flashlights and be learning about the creatures of the night, I guess. Perfect for Halloween.
Yes. Most of us, we don't have the opportunity to go out into the forest and hike on a trail at night. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of nocturnal sounds and a lot of cool animals like bats that we don't get to see during the day.
Well, I can't wait to see this. I appreciate it. This is good stuff you guys are coming up with. You have to be creative in these times. Heidi, thanks for taking time with us today.
All right, thank you. And join us for Park in the Dark.
All right, if you need more information, you just go to WFNYnews2.com. We'll have the article there. Full disclosure, guys, because it's the elephant in the room. I got to talk about it. Before I went into this story, if you heard something squealing, which our producer was like, what was that? My kid Alex was mowing, and he was parking the mower underneath us, which I'm in the bonus room, so that's our garage is there. And my kid's guinea pig started squealing over the side, so I apologize. Back to the park.
Just pretending some of those bat noises or something.
We're going with our family without the guinea pig. It'll be fun.
Oh my goodness. I guess the guinea pig was hearing, hey, I can go hang out with all the animals in the park. Hey, this is my time to make a move.
It sounds like a fun event. When you're a kid, everything is cooler in the dark.
Yes, flashlights are key.
Except if you're scared
Thanks
of the
so
dark,
much.
right?
We'll be right back.
Hi, hello, wow. Doing a mic check for you as we talk about weddings and the mountains and all other kind of things. Thanks, buddy. When are you playing? Are you playing now? Oh, I didn't even see it. You guys got killed, right? Yeah, that's a bummer.
Living in North Carolina is always amazing. We are blessed, but it really is one of the most beautiful times of the year right now in our state. The fall leaves are changing and putting on quite the show along the Blue Ridge Parkway.
WFMY News 2's photojournalist Kyle Conley took a talk to a family who made a drive to check out the fall colors just in time.
This is all of our first time coming to the mountains. We're just out here as a family having a good time. We see a lot of trees, we see a lot of rocks, we see a lot of sky. It's just beautiful, beautiful skies. We are from Franklinton, North Carolina, a little over 3 hours from here out east. We decided to just take a family vacation. I love fall. Fall is my favorite season anyway. So to be out here and to see the trees already turning and everything's changing, it's just colorful. It's beautiful. This is dope. Great spot to come out and vacation with the fam, or just come out with your buds, your best friends, you know, and have a good time.
Man, with politics and COVID, we really needed to see that. Hey, our chief meteorologist Tim Buckley spent some time up in the mountains yesterday. Lucky him. He came across this beautiful wedding. He said the prettiest wedding award has to go to this group right here, right?
I have no idea. I have no clue who these people are.
Were you invited?
I was not invited. I was at the wedding though. So this is on, if you're familiar with the area, it's the Rough Ridge Trail, which is right there near Grandfather Mountain, right by where our drone was. And I was hiking up the trail and there was just a little sign, a tiny little paper sign that said wedding in progress, please be quiet.
So of course you're like, let me go over there and look.
No, it said feel free to watch.
Crash.
And it's like a public place, so they had to let people go by. And a lot of people stopped, respectfully, watched, enjoyed, and then when it was all over, they clapped, and I hope they're okay with me putting on the news. I didn't even ask.
I was going to say, I hope that someone that knows the couple's watching, because you took some great photos. We got to get them to them.
So I did get a phone number to one of the folks, and I'm sending them along, because they had a photographer, but I thought, you know, the wide stuff might be pretty cool too. They're from the Raleigh area, by the way, so they had a nice day trip out there to get married.
Getting married in the mountains.
What do you think, Tasha?
Idea? I don't know, but I love a view.
I mean,
that's one thing I got to have at my wedding. It's a view.
You're lucky you have the beach too to choose from here in our state.
I have to tell
either
you,
or.
The mud was terrible on the trail, and you have to get up about 3/10 of a mile here. That bride, she hiked this in her dress, everyone else in their shoes. I don't know if they had separate shoes.
How did it stay white?
I had hiking boots, and I'm like slogging through that mud, so they had a tough haul, but it was beautiful.
Trooper, for sure.
All for the shot.
All right, let's talk about a forecast, make a couple of corrections here because I had a graphic incorrect earlier. So tonight, our overnight low is 58 degrees. We're seeing those clouds building in. Showers will start to arrive overnight. For your Friday, it's probably some rain and a little breezy first half of the day. The high only makes it up to 64. But as that rain starts to taper off as we head into the night, then the big story would be overnight, Friday night, gradual clearing, breezy, and much cooler as we see high temperatures and overnight lows going into some areas that we haven't seen in a long time, that's for sure. That's what the front looks like on the radar and satellite combination, but here's your long-range forecast. After a 60% chance of a few scattered showers during the first half of the day, we gradually clear out. Look at the highs and lows for Saturday, Sunday, all sunny, but 60 on Saturday, 65 Sunday. Those lows right at 40 even, which means we will see 30s, especially in our northern counties and our counties back to the west. Back to the 70s, though, next week with varying sky conditions.
Many European nations are considering a possible second lockdown as COVID-19 cases rise, and the question of a second wave has been a topic during the pandemic. Our Verify team breaks down what exactly a second wave is next at 4:30.
Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Ben Briscoe with Tahisha Moyes and Eric Chilton. There is so much to talk about today, from early voting to coronavirus numbers to school reentry, and we want your thoughts about all of it. Just go to our Facebook page and comment along as we're talking. We'd love to respond to you and have a conversation. Starting with this, Guilford County Schools is adjusting the reentry plan after considering key coronavirus metrics. Pre-K through second grade students are still returning to classrooms on the 20th, but other grades, they will be going back later than originally planned. Grades 3 through 5 are returning either November 4th or 5th. Middle schoolers will be going back part-time starting November 12th, but that could all change. School district officials say they're going to keep up with coronavirus trends and decide for each reentry 1 week before it's supposed to happen. Finally, high school students, they'll be returning part-time all the way out on January 20th. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools is also reviewing reentry plans for students. The district says it will follow CDC guidance. Now that requires schools to follow 5 strategies, including using face masks properly and consistently, social distancing, proper hand hygiene, cleaning and disinfecting, and contact tracing. The district adds if school falls into high-risk groups under CDC guidances, a special coronavirus committee will review the decision for in-person learning. But as of right now, schools are still reopening as planned. You can find all those dates on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Today was the last day of Senate confirmation hearings for Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Witnesses testified either for or against her confirmation. Now, Republicans have voted to send her confirmation to the full floor for a vote. But Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham says the nomination will be held for 1 week under committee rules. Now, the Senate committee voted to move ahead with the confirmation to the Supreme Court before hearing from all witnesses. Democrats tried to adjourn the proceedings in an attempt to delay Barrett's nomination, but the motion was withdrawn. Democratic senators aren't denying Barrett's qualifications, but say it's wrong to confirm her this close to an election. Republicans cite the Constitution to move forward with the confirmation.
The damage inflicted in the wake of this outrageous power grab is going to be considerable, perhaps even irreparable.
We've got the authority to do this. We've got historical precedent on our side, and we've also got the Constitution.
Only 2 Republican senators say they will vote against Barrett's confirmation, citing the upcoming election.
Hey, we've got a special email bag for you today, helping voters headed out to the polls. I received this question from a Twitter user about ballot boxes. Voter asks if there are any ballot boxes to drop off absentee ballots at early voting places. Here's the answer. It's no. To drop off an absentee ballot, you gotta wait in line at early voting locations. You saw some of those lines are pretty long today, but there's a trick here. You can skip the lines by dropping your absentee ballot off at the County Board of Elections office. If you decide to drop your ballot off at an early voting location, North Carolina State Board of Elections recommends going to polling sites during regular business hours. They say the lines are shorter then. We can help you find an early voting location near you. Just text us. Text EARLY to 336-379-5775. We'll send you a link to all of the early voting site locations. Remember, this is a text number, not a calling number.
Reminder here, today is the last day to fill out the 2020 census. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court ruled the Trump administration can end the census early. Now, the administration argued the census needs to end immediately, so the Census Bureau has time to meet its December 31st deadline for completing data used to distribute House seats. That deadline is tonight at 11:59. We've talked about dogs sniffing out coronavirus. Well, dogs are now being trained to sniff out the virus through sweat samples. The dogs are trained to be alert and sit near sweat samples of someone who has coronavirus. So the training works like this. There are gauze pads placed under the armpits of someone who has the virus and someone who does not. The samples then go into a container and the dogs are led through the samples one by one. Several airports overseas already use dogs to sniff out coronavirus. And the pandemic is bringing out all sorts of creative face masks as more people have to wear them. Now you can enjoy the scent of your mask as well. Hormel Foods is giving away bacon-scented face masks. The company is also donating up to 10,000 meals to Feeding America for each mask requested. The breathable bacon mask is a 2-ply multi-fiber cloth. And to enter for your chance to win, you can head over to breathablebacon.com. That website is open from now until the 28th.
As flu season approached, health professionals have warned us of a second wave of coronavirus. Now, as cases start to climb in some nations and in North Carolina, the question is, what classifies as a second wave? Our Verify team breaks down where the line is drawn.
The Verify team exists to separate fact from fiction in an age where there is widespread misinformation. For months, we've heard about a possible second wave of COVID-19. Viewers reached out and asked us to verify what counts as a second wave. And this question is all over social media too. So let's verify. Is there a definition or measurement for what qualifies as a second wave? Our sources are the World Health Organization and a pair of infectious disease doctors, Amesh Adalja and Linda Nabha. The WHO emailed us a statement saying, quote, "There's no scientific definition of a second wave, nor a specific threshold of cases or rates." It continues, quote, "It's about the resurgence of cases." Doctors Nabha and Adalja agree.
In order to say one wave has ended, the virus has to be brought under control, and cases have to fall substantially. Then for a second wave to start, you need a sustained rise in infections.
Well, one of the things that's characteristic about a wave is that it has a peak and it has a trough. And when you look at countries like the United States, we really never had a trough. We're still having tens of thousands of cases every day.
Dr. Adalja said it's more accurate to refer to most spikes as peaks. This graphic from Johns Hopkins University shows the peaks and valleys of the case numbers in the US, and the lack of a trough, as Dr. Adalja described. So we can verify there's no scientific definition of a second wave of a virus, but our experts say we will likely see another peak as we go into the fall and winter months.
We're going to have these kind of undulations, this intensification that occurs when there are mass gatherings, when people's behavior changes, and especially when it gets colder and people can do less activities outdoors.
There's a free coronavirus testing in Guilford County this evening. It's at the Department of Public Health on East Windover Avenue in Greensboro. You can get tested from 5 to 7 p.m. If you got more questions, we have additional information on our website.
Well, if you look at our temperature map, you don't have to be a meteorologist to figure this one out. Where's the cold air? You can see that green color, and it is a clearly defined line. That is a pretty sharp cold front getting ready to move in our area. So on the east side of that, we are warm at 82 in Columbia, 79 in Wilmington. In the Triad at the airport, we're 74. But if you look back towards Cincinnati and St. Louis, they're in the 50s right now. And all that cold air will reach us by the weekend and maybe even Friday night. We could say that. Here's your planning forecast. A chance of a morning shower tomorrow, maybe a little sprinkle in the afternoon, but I think it's more likely first half of the day. Look for temperatures to stay in the mid to upper 50s, we think, for pretty much the first half of the day before we top out at about 64. Now, after that, though, it looks like that front will clear us, and we're looking at breezy and cool conditions. It is completely possible that for this weekend, we could see those temperatures dropping into the 30s for overnight lows. And you look at our futurecast real quick, you can see most of the rain out of here by Friday afternoon, definitely into Friday evening as we see clearer skies. And we'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up in a bit.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5:30, your chance to ask any questions you may have about jobs and the workforce. If you're searching for a seasonal job or maybe have questions about entering the workforce during this time, our specialist Danielle Harrington is here to answer your questions.
So I'll tell you what can be scary about Halloween. That would be the prices of the costumes. But never fear, there is help on the way. Sarah Butler, our good friends at Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina, they have an answer for you. Well, Sarah, when you're talking about Halloween costumes on a budget, you guys nail it every time because it's unbelievable what you can get away with and not spend a ton of money. But you were telling me that, people do this every year, but the costumes, they go through fads and changes. What are the big ones this year and how can you guys help us?
Well, pop culture costumes are always really popular, especially with younger shoppers. Millennials are really into couple and group costumes, and pop culture is a really great source of those. So this year, the big pop culture costumes we expect to be characters from the show Tiger King, that was really popular over the summer, so we expect to see a lot of that. And the classic costumes, of course, are always big, but what we see is a lot of people combining costumes, like a princess witch or a zombie nurse, instead of just going with the classic costume by itself. And that's what Goodwill is a really good place for shopping, because you can get those staples to make those classic costumes and then add unique elements to make your DIY costume customized to you.
And when you talk about saving from a percentage standpoint, how much money can someone save from buying a costume at a regular store to shopping with you guys?
When you buy things at Goodwill, our clothes items are, under $5 a piece typically, and even cheaper than that for items like t-shirts. So even if you have to buy several pieces of clothing or shoes to cut together and put together your costume, you can still get out of it for $10, $15, even $20.
I know once when I was in high school, I found a complete mechanics jumpsuit thing that I just bought for $4 and used for my costume that year. So you have some rare finds too.
Yes, if you are shopping for something really specific like mechanics coveralls or overalls, it's a good idea to start early, because you may have to go to more than one store, and if you start shopping now, you still have some time to look around and find what you need.
So I asked you on Facebook today, I said, what's the best homemade costume that you've ever seen? And some of you had some doozies here. Yeah, wait till the last one here. Cindy says, a jelly bean jar. Cut the leg and armholes in a clear yard waste bag, fill it with colored balloons, tie it around your neck, but don't plan on a bathroom break anytime soon, she says. Sylvia says, haven't seen this in person, but on Facebook I saw a wheelchair made into Cinderella's carriage for someone. That was really cool. Here we go. GT said, 2 college buddies bought army green sweatsuits, put them on, stuffed them with newspaper, then put Vaseline all over the sweatsuits, and they were, well, you can read that. I'll just say they could star in a Mucinex commercial. Yeah, that's how we'll end on that one. I'll tell you real quick, my best one was when I was in college at Carolina. Franklin Street is a big party on Halloween, and I saw somebody who, and you have to think about this and visualize it, it looked like a guy carrying a cage with a monkey in it, but it was the guy from the waist up was the monkey in the cage, and they had a fake top half of the guy that was holding the cage, and then from the legs down were the actual guy that looked like he was holding the cage. That was the coolest costume I'd ever seen.
And that's the thing about Halloween, is just seeing how creative people can get with their costumes. I'm not the creative type, so I kind of have a vibe that I'm going for. So for years, I wanted to be Storm. So I went and bought a black jumpsuit, the white wig, I had the white contacts, and for me, that was my dream come true.
You got to post a picture of that. We need to see it for sure.
I will.
So
yes.
I feel lucky this year because we're doing a Zoom Halloween with all of our friends. So that means my costume just has to be from the waist up. So if you guys have suggestions, please let me know on my Facebook page. I need one.
I'll think about that.
All right, yeah.
And while you're thinking, if there's something else that you're looking for to get you in the spooky spirit, the High Point Public Library is sharing stories about haunted places in North Carolina this month. They're sharing legends and ghost stories, including the Carolina Theater in downtown Greensboro. Legend has it 2 ghosts move the seats and make lights flicker there.
Well, what about this one? Maybe you've heard of the legend of the Headless Horseman. Well, a Washington State woman is bringing that legend to life. Every year for the last 12 years, Nancy Avey saddles up her horse and roams through town dressed as the Headless Horseman on Halloween. It's a treat neighbors look forward to now.
My Headless Horseman ride is for the people because they just love it. Old, young, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got to do it for the people. Washington Irving, the author of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, spent time in Astoria, Washington, where Nancy lives, to bring the legend to life. So cool stuff there.
Okay, so Halloween's gonna look a little different, but what about Thanksgiving? Dr. Anthony Fauci is giving his advice to families on what you should do during the pandemic. While we wait to find out what that is, we want to know, what are your plans? Comment on our live stream, use the hashtag 4to5, and we'll be right back.
Hi, Brad. You know what, Ben? You should just be a news anchor. Party in the top?
Dr. Anthony Fauci is warning families to be careful during Thanksgiving, suggesting you might even want to hold off on Thanksgiving dinner for this year.
Yeah, he's saying that it could be a risk for the health of your family members, those who are older, and those, of course, with underlying health conditions.
I think people should be very careful and prudent. But when you're talking about relatives that are getting on a plane, being exposed in an airport, being exposed in a plane, then walk in the door and say, Happy Thanksgiving, that you have to be careful about.
So I wanted to bring you into the conversation. So I asked you on my Facebook page today, what are your plans for Thanksgiving this year? COVID may be changing them. Let's take a look at what a few of you had to say. Bobby Odom says, I plan on eating Thanksgiving dinner with a few family members and watch football together. Classic day, Bobby. Ruth and Albert Johnson say, family dinner as usual with all my children except one. Made our menu several weeks ago for my adult children to sign up what they are bringing. Melanie Austin Neal says, family dinner per usual. We love Thanksgiving. Cheryl Martin says, just me and Gabe, her young son. I'm pretty excited to have it just be us, actually. Joseph Daffel says, going to be with my mother, my sister, and my cousins in Queens, New York. Carrie Gatling says, I'm hoping for a family dinner with my only 6 family members that I have. So I know a lot of people looking at getting together with family, visiting. Of course, we all have to be careful if we do step on the plane or if we choose to drive. Personally, I'm trying to go home, and I think I'm going to drive this year. I haven't done the drive up to Massachusetts in a while, but I think just for my sake, just knowing I can control what's in my car better makes me feel a little safer.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might be using this, Dr. Fauci's advice, as an excuse not to go home and face all those political conversations. It might be a good idea this year specifically for those people to just kind of push Thanksgiving back a little bit, maybe to the first of the year instead.
That's when you can do the old, I'm sorry, I can't hear on Zoom, something's wrong with my signal, click. That's what you do. That's
never with family. You would never do that.
I didn't tell you to do that, though.
No.
Yeah, that's
No.
right. Never. That would never happen to me.
All right. It is 4:52, Eric. That means we have to talk about food. So what Thanksgiving dish are you looking forward to?
Oh, I forgot about that. All right, for me, it's always the stuffing. That's my favorite. There you go. That's your 4:53 food update. Let's talk about a forecast. I think I'm supposed to do that as well somewhere in here. We're looking at skies gradually building with cloud conditions, and that will be the case heading into tomorrow as well. Your Friday shows some morning showers. I would say for the first half of the day, you'll have a chance of a shower, maybe again in the afternoon, but those high temperatures only around 64 for tomorrow. Cloud cover does start to build in. Here's what the front looks like. You can see that as it approaches. It's not so much a big, huge rain event as it is just the cold air back behind it. Yes, we will see some heavy showers for a certain amount of time. A lot of us will sleep through that. It'll be in the overnight hours and again through the first part of the day. But by the time I think we get to about lunchtime and early afternoon, most of that is exiting out of here. But it is clear and it is cold as we head into the weekend. Here are your main points for the weekend with that temperature at 60 degrees on Saturday and 65 on Sunday. Lots of sunshine, but it's chilled sunshine, that's for sure. The lows are forecasted for right at 40, so that means our northern counties and northwest will see some 30s, and for the first time probably in a long time. And even as we head into the night tonight, again, those clouds are starting to build in. Long range forecast, 60s for your weekend, obviously very chilly. We'll build back in though. Next week, we're seeing 70 on Monday with kind of varying sky conditions, partly cloudy there, to mostly sunny on Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be pleasant. Highs go to 74 for Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday, we're at 73. Now, overnight lows, as we mentioned, really mild tonight because of that cloud cover and the rain. That'll be in the low 60s for overnight lows and then mid 60s for highs tomorrow. The coldest lows, unfortunately, are right for the weekend. So if you want to do something fun, you head up to the mountains. And next week, lows back to the lower 50s.
Chilton, I'm still thinking about the stuffing. I'm with you on that one. All right, let's tell you what's coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. Early voting started today and continues for 16 more days. A look at the polling places where some waited for hours to cast their ballots, plus some of the problems voters say they have experienced at the polls. That's next at 5.